spring finally came, and our teacher, Mr. Day, took us to the marsh.
It was exciting. There were lots of strange sounds.
And everything was really starting to grow.
Mr. Day had a book that told about the marsh.
It told about how the marsh is a kind of wetland with water and islands of plants.
There are freshwater marshes and saltwater marshes and marshes called swamps.
Hey, remember? I saw the first animal.
And I saw the first bunch of flowers.
Some marsh flowers, like on the willow, didn't even look like flowers.
Last year's cattail flowers sure looked funny.
They were all dried out. What do you expect? Remember the red-winged blackbird? There were a lot of blackbirds in the marsh.
He kept showing off his colors.
The lady blackbird wasn't
She
as
was
bright.
too busy to show off. She had to gather things for her nest.
It looked like she was almost finished.
Yeah, that's right. Remember the other blackbird nest we saw?
Oh, yeah, the one with the eggs in it.
And the third nest with the mother blackbird feeding her babies. Mr. Day really knew where to find things.
He sure did. Yeah, like those frog eggs. He said they'd be hatched when we came back in the summer.
You think that was the mother we saw?
Maybe. We sure scared her.
But we didn't scare the raccoon. He was just looking for food.
Remember when Tommy found those beetles near the shore?
They were kind of silly. What were they called?
Whirligig beetles.
Yeah, whirligig. What kind of name is that?
I saw the ducks first. They were mallards. Remember? Mr. Day told us.
Oh, yeah, and those ducklings were so cute.
I like the other bird better, the green.
Remember the baby grebes that were hatching?
Their nest was floating. Mr. Day said grebes can swim when they're born.
As soon as they're born? I didn't hear him say that.
Well, he did, right before he showed us the muskrat.
I never saw a muskrat before. Wow, can they swim? They eat the roots of plants that grow underwater. We were walking by the shore and Mr. Day found that,
Salamander?
Right, salamander. It can live on land or in the water. Just like the water snake we saw, remember that?
Oh, yes.
We saw the snake right before we had to leave.
Mr. Day said there'd be more things to see when we came back in the summer.
The plants were much taller.
The grasses and new cattails were all grown up.
There were different birds, too, like the killdeer. I wonder why they call it a killdeer. I'll never forget that duck that dived underwater for food.
Boy, he could sure hold his breath a long time.
How about those coots we saw?
They sure made funny noises. Maybe that's why they call them crazy coots.
Aww.
Mr. Day showed us what they eat sometimes. The duckweed. Ducks eat it too. Remember how it floated?
But what about the algae? It looked like spinach, but it didn't have leaves or stems or roots. The cattails were a lot different. Jimmy said the flower was like a big furry hot dog.
It had a round stem. It was different from that other marsh plant with the flat-sided stem.
The pickerel weed stem grew way up out of the water, and so did the leaves.
But the water lily leaves floated. Mr. Day said the roots were in the mud, with the whole stem underwater.
The painted turtle, it was really neat. Mr. Day said only certain fish can live in the marsh.
Yeah, like the bluegills and the mud minnows. My dad and I use minnows when we go fishing.
Crayfish can live in the marsh, too.
Yeah, but they're not really fish.
No, but neither were the tadpoles we found.
But they sure look like fish.
They were the babies that hatched from the frog eggs we saw in the spring.
Mr. Day said they'd be frogs. Yeah, after they grew their legs and lost their tails.
One tadpole almost did lose his tail. Remember when that hungry dragonfly nymph bit him? Mr. Day said the dragonfly lives the first part of its life underwater.
But then it comes out and begins to shed its skin.
After it leaves its old skin, its wings dry and open. It starts flying around looking for food.
I never knew there was so much happening in the marsh.
I wish we could have looked around some more.
Hey, maybe Mr. Day will take us back there again.
Yeah, and I hope it's soon. Let's ask him now.
That's a great idea.